Alright. We're still working on our Peyton's yoga socks, and we just finished binding off these 36 stitches across here. And if you look at it, you'll see that you've done exactly half. That's what we bound off, exactly half of the work. And then we continued ribbing all the way across here. And now we're at the point where it says cast on 36 stitches loosely. Rejoin in the round. Now, to cast on stitches at this point, you can do, what I like to do is a knitted cast on. Some people will do just a little quick thumb cast on like this, but the stitches are really loose that way. If you do that, I don't really like doing it that way. I'd rather do a knitted cast on. And a knitted cast on is just another way of doing a cast on. Not sure how I want these needles set up. Now I'm going to have to cast on one on the existing needle so that I can transfer it over to this needle. I just slipped it over purlwise, and now I can start knitting onto my next needle the way I want it to be. So let me do all of those. So it said cast on 36. So that was 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to set that aside for a minute so that I can show you how to do a knitted cast on with great big needles, so that you'll know how to do that if you've never done it before, and you won't have to go look for another video. To do a knitted cast on, this is like if you're working on something and you want to add more stitches that way, just turn it back over here again to the left, and it's like you're going to work a knitted stitch. You wrap it like you normally would for a knitted stitch, and you pull it through like you normally would for a knitted stitch. And then you take it off to the right, and you put your left needle into the back of that hole, and it slides right on there to the needle. Wrap it, pull it forward, take it off to the right, and then put your needle into the back. And after you get going, it can go pretty quick because you can keep your hand just like this, pull it through, hook it on, and then your needle's right there. You don't even have to pull it out completely. So you can just keep going like that because your needle's already in the spot where it needs to be. Knit. Put it on the left needle. You can pull it out real far if you want like that too. So that's how to do a knitted cast on. Now remember, in this pattern it says to cast on the 36 stitches loosely. So be careful not to put it too tight up against that needle. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to continue casting on. Got 3 on here, I believe. Yeah, I've got 3 on here, and they're loose the way I want them to be. So remember that we have 24 stitches on each needle. So I want to arrange it that way still. You know, I still want to have 24 on each needle. So I'm going to cast 24 onto this needle. I could go ahead and cast the 36 and then slip the extras over to the other needle. I think that's what I'll do. Alright, let's see how many we've got so far. 2, 4, 6, 7. I've got 7 on here. Eight. 9. 10. Are you working on yours the same time I am? I think it's cool when people make a project with me at the same time. It's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think there's a whole lot of you that are quietly watching and making the project with me, but I don't know that you're making it, so I wish you'd make a comment on the video so that I know. Makes me feel better. Instead of having to just count the views, I can see who's actually making their socks with me. 16, and you can tell me what color yours are. 17, 18, 19, 20. This is the slow part. 21, 22. But I am a slow knitter, slow, careful knitter. 23. 24. I knit faster when I'm not having to reach around the camera. So it's not this slow, but it's pretty slow. It takes me forever to finish a project. 25. 26. 27, 28, 29, 30. But I'm not in a race. I'm knitting because I enjoy it. I don't want to knit fast. 31. 32, 33, 34, 2 more stitches, 35, 36. There. Now it says rejoin in the round. So all you have to do to join it in the round is you get your 36 stitches. Now before we do it, let's count and make sure we have 36 on there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. Yay. Alright, so when you get them in the get all your 36 stitches on there, we're going to join it in the round. So did you see what I just did? You got to take your yarn to the back. Just take your yarn to the back. And get the stitches down to the where the points are close together. So you just get the needle that was right here, this one off to the left. That's where you're going to be joining it, because you're going to close up that hole that we made. See how we made that opening? We're going to join back together over here. So you put these points together and you get the last stitch over here, and then you get the last stitch over here, and you take it across to the other needle. So you're not binding it off, you're just putting it over to the other needle, and then you're joining the round. So here at this point, after you're joining the round, work 5 rounds in knit 1, purl 1 ribbing. So look at your stitches, make sure that the first stitch is a knit, and it is. Good. So here I'll get another needle. So I have my stitches on 3 needles. See that? See how I have them on 3 needles? So I'm going to start knitting with this one that has just a few stitches on it. Knit, purl. So you see our stuff is not even right now. We've got 36 on that last needle, 24 on that needle, and just a few stitches on this needle. So don't worry about it, just work them. They'll probably tell us to arrange them again in a little while. So now we're just working in our ribbing again. We're all joined in the round just like we were before. And everything's working like it's supposed to. So now our starting point for our ribbing, for our rounds, I mean, is right here. So the tail that we used to use to show us where the beginning of our rounds was is not accurate anymore. Now the beginning of our round is right here. So at this point you do need to get a stitch marker, and I like to use like a safety pin or this plastic stitch marker thing, and that is what I use to show where the beginning of my round is. So I go after the first stitch. You can even put it on the stitch if you want, on that first stitch like that. The problem with this is that you'll have to move it every time. So that's why I like to put it in between the stitches and close it up. And I could have put a little ring there at that point, but I didn't, so I'll use this for now. Maybe I'll switch it later, maybe I won't. So that's the beginning of my round now. So I'm going to work 5 rounds in knit 1, purl 1 ribbing, because that's what it says to do. Because earlier we cast off 36 stitches in ribbing, and then we did ribbing to the end of the round. Then we cast back on 36 stitches, and we rejoined in the round. So now we're working 5 rounds in knit 1, purl 1 ribbing, and you know how to do that. So I'll see you after I finish my knit 1, purl 1 ribbing. Bye.